Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. So, I just wanted to thank you for coming in today. So, why don't we start by why don't you tell me a little bit about what brought you in today?
Yeah, I am in my final year of grad school. I'm getting my master's in social work right now and just started my final year in August, at the end of August. And I'm just feeling a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, and burnout, really, and just uh, would like to just be done with school and um, yeah, I'm feeling it all hanging over my head a lot.
Yeah. So, it sounds like graduate school is really stressing you out and you're feeling a lot of anxiety from that. Um,
Yeah.
what is that anxiety looking like for you right now?
For me right now, I would say it's looking like I'm sometimes feeling so anxious about all the different things that I have to do that I almost don't end up wanting to do anything, or it's hard for me to really start any one task.
Mhm.
And I like like it's just, I don't know, it feels impossible for me sometimes. Like I just am so overwhelmed with school. I have assignments for school. I have stuff going on for work. I have a personal life and people who count on me. Um, I'm in an internship as part of my degree, so I'm stressed about that. And it's like I'm just starting out in that, and just feeling a lot of different feelings and about like if all of this is worth it to be putting myself through, and just having a really hard time getting through and like really making myself do all the stuff that I have to do to succeed.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a lot on your plate right now, and a lot of this anxiety that you're having from school is really pouring into other areas of your life.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about how these different areas are affected? Is there a specific area that you feel like is lacking right now because of school?
I think there are a couple of areas that are lacking because I'm just focused so much on school assignments and like trying to just survive, um, and do well in school so that this all ends up being worth it. I'd say like one of those things are my relationships because like I'm married and I have a lot of close friends and I have a great relationship with my parents, but I just am not feeling like I have the energy to give to those things. Like sometimes my mom will call me and want to tell me stuff that's going on in her life, and I would love to just like give her that time and listen, but I don't always feel like I can. Like I'm so overwhelmed with everything else going on that I just feel like, I even said to her like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I can't right now. I have to focus on this assignment, or I have to focus on getting through this training video for my internship or whatever it is.
Yeah. So you feel like this anxiety is really draining the energy that you have, and so much so that you don't have all the energy that you would like to have to tend to, your marriage and your friends and your relationship with your parents. I know you mentioned that you were married. So how does your husband support you when you're anxious?
Well, he definitely like tries to help me by completing stuff around the apartment. So like that I don't have to worry about it. He takes out the trash, he does the dishes, he'll kind of figure out what we're gonna have for dinner, that kind of thing. So um that's helpful, but I think then I have a lot of guilt sometimes then over that. Like I tell myself then that I'm not doing enough. And so it's like he's doing these great things that are helpful, but then I'm also then just feeling bad about him
Yeah,
some
so
of the
you
time.
You feel guilty for not having all the time and energy to give to your marriage and the people around you. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would like to just be able to do more for them. I don't know, I would definitely like to. I'm throwing baby shower for one of my best friends this upcoming weekend. And I feel like I've done so much of it at the very last minute that I should have done earlier because it just hasn't been able to take top priority.
Yeah, a baby shower is a lot to plan. So on top of everything else that you have going on, I'm sure that that's been really hard to fit the time in to plan that all out. And I'm sure that also added some anxiety too, because you want to make sure that it's, the way she wants it and, everything is planned out and you have everything. Um, what are some things that you do right now to cope with anxiety?
Um, I try to like do some deep breathing exercises when I'm feeling like my very, very most anxious and at the top of my anxiety. Then I try to do something to, bring that down a little bit. But I would say that like when I have assignments due, when I have stuff that is hanging over my head, that there's this little voice that just tells me that like it doesn't matter how many deep breathing exercises you do, you still have to get this stuff done.
Yeah. So at the end of the
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's you're doing these breathing exercises and you're using these coping skills, but you're still anxious and it's hard to manage everything that you have going on right now.
Yeah, it's really hard to manage and like I especially the major assignments, they really make me feel anxious. Like I have one course where I was gonna maybe work with a partner and now I'm working on my own. It's probably gonna be better that way, but the paper is just weeks and weeks long. It's due in chunks. And just seeing how it's going to take up so much of my time over the next several months just it feels like a big shadow hanging over me.
Yeah, because that's one thing out of all these other things that you have to make sure that you're tending to, right?
Yeah, it's like that's just one assignment. And I have all these other ones too, but I just know that one's gonna last several months and that one's due at like the end of this course. But in the meantime, there are also other big assignments due for that same course, and I'll start another course. And so just feeling really overloaded, and and really unconfident about being able to do it all in this moment.
Yeah. So overall, right, it sounds like you're experiencing a lot of anxiety. You have a lot on your plate. Um, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about why you chose to go to grad school for social work. What was your reason for wanting to choose that as a career?
Well, I wanted to do something to help people. That has always really felt the most rewarding for me in any kind of work that I've done. I used to own a fitness studio, but then that closed because of the pandemic, and so I kind of had to figure out what I was going to do with my career next and shift gears. And it was a really difficult period of time. And I wasn't sure for a while what I was going to do, but ultimately I chose to do social work because it was a way forward for me to help people. And also I went to music school for my undergraduate degrees, and you can't really get any jobs with two music degrees. So I thought a social work degree would give me a better chance at finding some jobs and make me more employable.
Yeah, a social work degree is very diverse, so there's a lot of different things that you can do with that degree. But what I'm
Yeah.
is that it's really important for you to help people. So would you consider that to be an important value that you, um, I guess, value?
Yeah, I would say that like I don't know my I we're all here. We're all here together. We don't exactly know why. Some people like to, hypothesize as to why, but we don't really know why we're all here. And what better thing can we do but to help one another in the time that we have while we're here? I guess that's what I believe. And so I don't want to spend my time working towards something that isn't going to satisfy that goal.
Yeah, and you're really passionate about giving back to people and helping other people, and you want to pursue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you first know that you wanted to help people?
Um, I I think so. I mentioned I went to music school. And then when I graduated from music school, I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing. I felt kind of aimless for a period of time. And I started just going to a yoga studio, and they really helped me. And so I just decided that I would want to do the same thing. So I was trained by the people at that studio, and I started teaching Pilates and yoga and bar classes. And that was really, really rewarding. And I was able to help people. And then I owned a studio here and really like formed a whole community that not where not only I help people, but like everybody was helping each other. It was really beautiful, and it was something that was sort of in my image because I just really, really wanted it to be that kind of a place, a community driven place. Um, and so when that when that closed and I had to have back surgery around the same time, and so I realized that being a fitness instructor maybe wasn't going to be the best career for the whole rest of my life, then I started to realize that I needed to get into a different profession that would still allow me to help people in a similar way, but that wasn't going to be physically demanding.
Yeah, so it sounds like you found purpose in being able to have that community environment and give back to people and really like help people around you. And that's something
It's
that
true.
you've really tried to keep that in whatever you do for work. You've really wanted to maintain, like, okay, I really want to help people. Um, is there anybody in your life that you feel like you may have gotten that value from other than like your realizations and what you've been through?
Yeah, I do think that like my whole family, not just my parents, but like my cousins and my aunts and uncles and my grandparents when they were living, like they were all really community driven and like wanted to help one another and be a part of our family. And I think maybe that instilled that in me. And you're right that I think since then I have always sort of sought out communities like that or ways of helping people that feel similar to me. Um, so yeah, and that's just an interesting thought
Mhm.
as I'm like going into my internship. I'm sometimes feeling like I have never been a therapist before. Now I'm trying to be a therapist, and I just haven't maybe found my voice yet or what feels the most genuine or natural for me. But I think it could be helpful for me to like really remember that that purpose and that like sense of community that I had in that studio and carry that with me into my role as a therapist.
Yeah, it sounds like you've always had that value in you from being raised in a family that really valued a sense of community. And
Yeah.
right now you're still getting your feet wet, right? Like you're still in school, so you don't have to be. I mean, being a therapist isn't it's every client is different, so every client is going to need a different approach. Um,
Yeah.
and another thing that I wanted to point out to you is it's temporary, right? So how much school do you have left?
I'll be done in May, mid-May.
Okay, so you're almost done, right? So
Yes.
even though right now everything is really stressful and you have a lot on your plate, and it might feel like you can't really tend to everything that you have going on. I know you mentioned your marriage, your relationships with your friends and your parents, and then school, and then on top of that, you're working. So, I mean, this is all temporary, and this is just the part where you're focusing on your career right now, and it's not always going to feel this way. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I guess one day I will like really be feeling confident and then I'll have kind of gotten through all this. It's just getting through it is the hard part, but one day I will be on the other side of it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you again for sharing all of this with me today, and I will schedule you in for next week. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.